It's very interesting to watch the illustration of Chapter 3 evolve with each track. As I said with the last 3, there's this darker vision that we're going on. So far with the tracks I've consulted tonight, starting with the underworld and then going to Ravenous and Under the Burning Skies, much more menacing illustration. But now we have Architect of Paradise. So we're shifting a bit. Like, it feels very much like a Heaven Vision song. We'll see which tone it takes in terms of the musical side. I'm sure it'll continue the vision of this album quite well. As I promised with you, this is a fun party we're taking tonight. I told you a while ago when I first covered Seth that it was my intention to do something I don't often do on this channel in regards to music coverage, with Ad Infinitum specifically, because I felt that they deserved it, and consult the entire album. You know, I try to be very democratic in the artists I consult and pick out a good selection of their works, and sometimes, you know, there's an artist that comes along where I'm like, I gotta hear more, and I love this journey with them that I drown myself in their work. And there's other groups I've got in consideration that I've already started the journey on that fit that bill. Feuerschwangs, Frozen Crown, I'm looking at you. But, you know, sometimes maybe it's just like a good selection, or small selection of songs as well. But I like to be able to provide, again, like I said, substantial entrances and experiences, right? Especially on this channel for those of you who perhaps are approaching many of these artists I feature for the first time. You know, for me, I cover a broad range of groups, from maybe smaller establishing names, and there's been many in that facet, to more mainstream, well-known names, such as Ad Infinitum. Maybe to some audiences, maybe they're not necessarily as well-known names. You know, I do like to help, again, give points of exposure if I can, if that is a manifesting... I was going to say manifestable, but that's not a word. If that's a capable goal of what this channel can provide in regards to making music a more dominant form of coverage on this channel, which has been an inspiration for me for many years. It's been a first love in my life, and I've, since the foundation of it, taken music into consideration of how could I approach it and giving a grander focus to a beloved art form. As much for me in comparison, or maybe a little more so, than other entertainment ventures I routinely cover and founded this channel on in regards to commentary and my thoughts on things. Ad Infinitum has been a wonderful treat to add to my playlist. I absolutely love them as a metalhead myself and somebody who loves the symphonic metal scene, especially within European metal. I can't speak of that area of the world highly enough in regards to their talent catalog. There's so many names, many of which I've covered on this channel and many more incoming. Ad Infinitum has been exquisite. That for me, the opportunity to cover Chapter 3 in full, I'm like, I can't escape that. Right? And also, you know, as I've said before, I'm operating off of my experiences of Chapters 1 and 2, which many of you know when I started my journey of Ad Infinitum in December and covering them publicly and first getting an introduction to their work, and becoming completely addicted to them since, quite frankly. I said, as of Seth, when I made this clear, that the experience of listening to Chapters 1 and 2 in complete form on my own, though I loved covering the first 4 songs of you, when I listened to the pieces on my own, as good as they were, it just wasn't the same. I love that collaborative experience, or at least as much of one as I can provide, right? It feels like I'm, though I can't necessarily see anybody's face, I've had plenty of good exchanges with many of you in the comment sections, and we have had very positive and enriching backs and forth, which remind me that even as a metalhead, I'm not necessarily as isolated in music taste as I think, which I look at oftentimes, again, in conjunction to my personal life, and nobody has my music taste. So it's been great to realize I'm not as much of an isolated anomaly in that respect. But when I first covered Ad Infinitum, and again, in consideration of their entire bodies of work on each album I spotlighted, it just wasn't the same for me to not have that collaborative experience. I felt something was lacking. So Chapter 3, I'm like, you know what? I learned from my mistakes. Let's have an enjoyment experience together. And I'm sure many of you are delighted to probably hear my thoughts on Chapter 3. I'm very excited to have that experience of you, though, specifically. It's been a wonderful treat to cover them and engage with so many of you and become a more of a mainstay infinitor. A developing one. Again, like I said, I'm sure many of you outrank me in your years, but it's been great to have a sense of community in that respect form on this channel, where, you know, again, like I said, I just don't have that many points of exposure in my personal life. It's been wonderful. And if I can introduce anybody in the process to a talent that's capable of Ad Infinitum, I'd love to hear that down below. If that happens to be a result of any of the coverage I'm spotlighting tonight, maybe for some of you that will be the case if you're approaching them for the first time. Take it from me on faith, you will like their entire body of work. Go consult it. Highest of recommendations from me. And maybe take this journey with me, you know, going on as we continue our way through Chapter 3. And we're almost towards the end of it. We're nearing that approach. Even though, as I've also said before, I'm covering this a bit out of order tonight, because it debuted early and the video for Eternal Reigns does not come out until early tomorrow morning. I'm going to look at that track last, but I wanted to get a head start. So, We're moving on to Architect of Paradise. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the song. We've been getting an introduction for that together for ourselves. And if you're not familiarized, and this may be a first introduction to my content, with how I format my work here, I do try and provide complete accounts and accommodate listener taste to the best extent that I can. So if you like to read along with the lyrics of the piece, rather than having you go and have to pull up whatever tab, and do all that, I provide the convenience of the lyrics for you in the video feed, and as we go through the song, the lyrics will follow along in suit and in procession. All right, so you can read along with the vision of Architect of Paradise if you wish to. If not, just sit back and enjoy the ride. That's been the experience thus far of Chapter 3 in full. You can enjoy it either way. Okay, I like that pacing. Good introduction. Nice subtle riff that grows in its showcase. Nice strings integration. I love that. Especially that rough integration. It's a beautiful blend. Man, that riff is so strong. I love it. Really aiding the percussion there, too. Nice echoes. Great background. Very whimsical. Oh! Beautiful. Really capable writing. I like these lyrics a lot here. And again, that vocal presence on Melissa's behalf is just wonderful. Those inclines and shifts on the verse conclusions are a staple element here. Nice pause and revving. Okay, where are we going with this? Instrumental break, okay. This is such beautiful perspective to aid the song. I love this breakdown. It's wonderful. There's so much growling from her on this album. I love that elevation. Wonderful shift. I love the whisper dynamic. So much menace there. Perfect. Like chef's kiss for a listener like me. I guess conductor's kiss is a better attribution. Love it. The presence on that piece is quite beautiful. The introduction, again, you start thinking like, it's a bit mellow here, but you can start hearing that riff structure coming in, especially with that guitar work. I love the emphasis there, and then it just increases dramatically. I love the presence of that piece. The vocal shifts, the variability on those end verses just is perfect. Like, for example, what spots, like, I think I'm here to stay, like, right before every iteration of the chorus. That specifically, again, I look for original points in the music I listen to specifically from track to track, and I feel that that's going to be the dominant takeaway from this piece, is just those jumps. It's so cool. Just to hear an artist float around with their voice like that, and to have it so unified where it doesn't necessarily feel too abrupt or disorienting, it just fits beautifully in the meshing of the structure of the song and the flow. So effective in their realizations. I love that, and I would expect nothing less from Melissa Barney's capabilities. She really is just, like I said, a master artist in my opinion. I love her work. And the band generally, like I said, those riffs are wonderful. And again, the meshing between percussion work and that rough emphasis was just solid in my opinion. And this album, I love the presence of Melissa Barney's growl. Like, I look in comparison perhaps to Chapter 2, and there's, and Chapter 1, and there's a good selection there of tracks that incorporate it, but to hear it more dominant on this album, I mean, smaller sections, yes, but it's been on a good number of pieces. Upside Down had it, I'm trying to remember if From the Ashes did. I don't think that one did. Did it? No, it didn't. No, I'm thinking of another one of their works. So let me go for the list here of what we've already had previously. Chapter 2. Song or tracks 2, 6, and 7, I believe, both had that. And now 9. So we've had 4 songs thus far on the album that have incorporated that. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 left to go. Which means possibly 8 possibilities. I mean, I'm judging a rough count here from past works. Let's say with examples, Chapter 2. That one had 8 songs as well that integrated that element. Okay, so we'll see what happens in terms of the evolution of Chapter 3. I just found that really great. For me, like I said, I'm much more of an aggressive metalhead headbang type guy. And there's different dynamics in the metal scene. Music is very subjective in who it reaches to and what preferences listeners have. And some people prefer softer ballad songs. Others prefer, that type of energy that I just mentioned. And for me, growls, screams, anything like that, I'm like, yes, go for it. So I loved hearing the integration again with that piece in particular. And the lyrical vision, I think, is quite great. What was that line in the chorus that I recognized? I didn't mention it. Yeah, call out my name. I'll be your hero, your moonlight, your sorrow, a scar left on your heart forever. I love that line, scar left on your heart. Again, it's so visual with this album. Always been dancing in the fire, igniting desire, and the song just flows so beautifully again with that vision. Like you can hear that in your head. You start to just really feel it if you sink into the song. You just see that painted in front of you, like it's like you're living the song for yourself in the back of your mind. It's wonderful. I love experiences like that, and with Ad Infinitum, I've had that routinely with this album. It's been such a treat to expose myself to their work. I love this piece. It's another fabulous addition to the album, and just like I said, great pacing. And also to mention, so I don't forget, again, that scream section or the growl, fantastic. I love how she drops that off on the end with a live and takes a whisper vocale. Wonderful. Beautiful personality to the piece. Again, I love that menace. Maybe you could let the scream linger, right? There's 2 choices there. You could either take the more aggressive approach, or you could try something a bit different that shifts it back into that transitional tone. And it just, again, like I said, the song has such exquisite flow and its structure and its energy. So united. Another great addition to Chapter 3. I love this experience tonight. I'm having a great party, as I said, with Chapter 3. Told you, full album consideration, and it's just been wonderful so far to entertain. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below for those of you who are longtime Infinitors, or perhaps, again, like I said, this is a first engagement with you for Ad Infinitum. Maybe you know the name, but you haven't checked out their work yet. I hope that lived up to your expectations. I really do, and I hope it compelled you to look at their work if you haven't consulted them in large scope yet. So as I said, whatever angle you come from, feel free to disclose your perspective if you wish to down below, as well as your thoughts on the piece. Top listen for me, again, like everything on this album, there has not been a piece from Ad Infinitum I have not liked. And Architect of Paradise fits the same billing. And going forward, I'm sure that'll continue. It always has been the case. Again, I took it on faith from the beginning that I love Ad Infinitum, and I've been pleased ever since. So with The Serpent's Downfall, I love that name too, and I dressed appropriately, I guess. I can't wait to hear it. Chapter 3, again, like I said, is evolving quite well, and track 9, another fabulous addition. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.